Hey guys, welcome back to the other side of the coin. Now, look, much needed 3 points against Norwich, but was it really the greatest performance of all time? No, it was not. Now, if you go to the social media, whether it's Facebook or football Twitter or wherever, you'll see many fans, commenting that I almost fell asleep. Now, I find this quite strange. Look, before I get to all the, individually looking at all the players' performance, I want to talk about this match first, and then we'll look into the players. Now, I find this strange that just a couple of days ago, we've been absolutely humbled. I mean, absolutely humbled by Sheffield United. They outplayed us in all departments. And I thought off the back of that, we are going to really come out and be all guns blazing. But instead, it felt like we did not want to make any mistake. We were very reserved in the way we were playing. There wasn't quick movements off the ball. We knew Norwich, they've been relegated. It's not like they're going to set the world on fire. We knew exactly what they were going to do. They sat back and they waited for counters, and they thought that they could probably hit us in counters, but they don't have the game. They don't have the personnel to hit us the way other teams have probably hit us in recent times. So, and for me, when I look at the lineup, I was like, okay, well, kind of makes sense. Giroud was back, Pulisic, Willian. I probably expected Willian to have a bit of a rest, but the guy's a machine, and Frank seems to trust him a lot, which is fine. And he's been good since the restart, so understandable. I just thought that, with so many other games coming up, some big games coming up as well, that how's this guy going to play every 3 days, almost 90 minutes? So anyway, he started. In the midfield, we've got Kovacic and Jorginho. I had a feeling that's probably what would happen, because we saw in the last match what happens with Jorginho by himself. He just can't handle it. He needs someone right next to him to help him out, so he doesn't have to cover so much of the ground, whether, from left to right. Kovacic was helping him out. And then, Ruben Loftus-Cheek started. Kind of had a feeling that he probably would start as well with what Barkley did in the last match, with what everyone did in the last match, to be honest. So I thought Ruben Loftus-Cheek would start. Rudiger probably was a bit of a surprise for me, but then again, Christensen apparently is injured again. The guy is just so weak, so he's injured again. So that's probably a reasonable shout that Rudiger got in. I would have liked to see Azpilicueta get the centre back position, but that probably was an far too much to handle at this time. And then you've got Azpilicueta, who's back into his right back position, which is fine, because Reece James probably wasn't the greatest since the restart as well. And Alonso, if we're going to have Azpilicueta in right back, you're going to have Alonso back in the left back. Emerson's just completely out of favour, and Kepa, of course, is the keeper. So, with that lineup, I thought, okay, it's still good enough to obviously win and play really, really good football and exciting football. The match started, and the passing wasn't sharp enough. The passing wasn't quick enough. Too much side-to-side movement, and our biggest plan is to always attack from our flanks, and it's generally Azpilicueta and Alonso. They're really the playmakers, which baffles me that, in this particular season, fair enough, we've got the ban, but we still have attacking players who we could use to, do bulk of our playmaking, but it seems like it's Azpilicueta and Alonso. And the issue with that is, far too many passes take until it gets to Azpilicueta or Alonso. I rather, whipping balls, one pass straight to Azpilicueta so that, he can bomb up and then, bring the ball back in for Willian. But it seems to me we pass it to centre-backs, will pass it to Jorginho, he'll pass it to Kovacic, Kovacic again will pass it to the centre-backs, and then the centre-backs will pass it to... there's just too many passes taken to get to the destination when Azpilicueta's open anyway. Norwich were more compact and narrow. They were allowing that space on the wings from both sides. That's why our fullbacks were whipping those balls in diagonally and getting them. So let's just, let's cut all those dilly-dally passes in the middle and just whip it in quickly so that goes to Azpilicueta, and then he can push the ball further, and the game is far more in the final third. So that's one issue. The other issue is with Jorginho and Kovacic. Yes, there were times where Kovacic did produce some really, really good pass through the middle. Jorginho as well, there was an opportunity where he put the ball in for Giroud, and Giroud just couldn't, balance his foot. And there were a few times like that. Giroud probably should have had 4 goals, to be honest. But nonetheless, he still got that goal, which won us the game. But, I don't see enough line-breaking passes through the middle, and that frustrates me because Jorginho and Kovacic are quite capable of doing this. I don't know whether it's because there's not enough movement up front or whether Frank has instructed them not to do that and just keep going on the sides. But it's too predictable. You just know when you're watching that it's always just going to go to the sides. And it just bugs me a lot that we don't see those penetrating passes through the middle. I don't know if you guys remember the game against Watford. There was a pass, the goal that Giroud scored. There was that Mason Mount pass, line-breaking pass through to Barkley, which pretty much took out, the one of the Watford players, and then Barkley found the pocket and put the ball through to Giroud. That's the kind of passing that I'm looking for in Chelsea. I don't want always balls going to the sides. I want line-breaking passes through the middle. Risky. Take some risk, for God's sake, honestly, because just by playing so safe against a team like Norwich, it's just, got a bit dicey at the end, It got really dicey in the middle of the game where we were still only 1-0 up. So these were my frustrations, that we're not seeing enough, risky play. I'm not saying go reckless, but every now and then do take that risk to find that line-breaking pass to open the game up. One, it excites the fan base. 2, it'll create chaos. And it just looks like we're progressing. When it's just always on the side, it looks like it's far too predictable. So that's a bit about the match. Luckily, we won the match, which is fantastic. It takes us 4 points ahead of Leicester and Man United. Leicester's got a really tough game coming up against Sheffield. I honestly can't see them winning that. So hopefully we're going to be okay. Man United got Palace. I think they should beat that. Now, in terms of player performances, let's quickly go through some of these. Kepa honestly was a spectator, so I can't really comment too much. Norwich didn't even try to attack that much. Whenever they did come forward, they didn't have too much firepower to basically challenge Kepa. Rudiger and Zuma, I think they did pretty well, as much as they could have done in this particular match with what Norwich was providing. They've cut off any sort of balls that was coming through in the middle. So good on them, and hopefully they keep doing this for the next few matches. Spilicueta and Alonso. I think Alonso going forward, he looked pretty good. He got into some really good areas in attacking areas, got into some really good positions for headers as well, put in some couple of good crosses as well. So, defensively, I think he didn't have to do much. So overall, I can say he had a pretty good match. Spilicueta as well similarly did the same thing as Alonso, so had a pretty good match. Jorginho and Kovacic. Now, for me, Kovacic, I don't particularly think he had a great first half. I think he had a better second half when Barkley came on. That allowed him to, Barkley was taking the ball up. I know I don't want to be hard on Ruben Loftus-Cheek. He's still finding his way. So it's you can clearly see that, he's just finding his rhythm through. So, can't expect too much of him. But you can see that as soon as he was off and Barkley came in, Barkley took the ball on a few more times. Took the defenders on a couple of more times. It wasn't successful a few times, but at least he tried. And that allowed Kovacic, the freedom to zoom around. When in the first half, however, Kovacic was close to Jorginho most of the times and just basically protected him. Jorginho, to be honest, I don't know if he, I'm sad to say this, I feel like his head's not in it anymore. He just doesn't, his passing as well doesn't look zippy enough, quick enough. It just seems like he's one of those players that just sort of figured out that, okay, I'm not in Frank's plans long term, so, that's it. I'll just shut up shop for the time being. I don't feel like his working, his passes are penetrating enough. Now, whether that's instruction from Frank, I don't know. Maybe he's just uncomfortable playing in that role that he's doing at the moment, lone DM. So Kovacic, I think, had a better second half. Pulisic and Willian, oh man, honestly, he looked like he was out of petrol in the second half. I wanted him to be off, but he kept on going. I think defensively he helped out a lot in this match, but going forward, I don't think he produced too much. Pulisic had one really, really good chance. He's our best player in terms of attacking sense. So he, once again, had a really good game. And obviously that cross that he put in for Giroud, there's a video going around that Giroud's saying him to go like that, put the ball through, which is in the Chelsea official site. And that's exactly what Pulisic did, put the cross through, and Giroud with the header, brilliant header. And Pulisic, once again, really good game. Giroud, look, even when he misses all the opportunities, he still has one in his locker where he puts it in. And this is what I like about Giroud, that he could go in a game where, he might have missed quite a few, but he'll put one through that will be the game changer, and it has been in this match. So kudos to Giroud. And this is why I honestly appreciate the fact that he's playing more and not Tammy at the time being, because Tammy's just not been there. And in terms of our substitution, I think Barkley did pretty good off the bench. Tried to take the ball on a few times. Tried to go for that penetrating pass, which is what you need as an attacking eight. Reece James off the bench, I think it was okay. I mean, you can't really say much of anything more about it. Callum Hudson-Odoi, I think this is one player, Frank continuously has said that he needs to do what Pulisic did, come off the bench and really, really ignite the match, make an impact. And now that's a couple of times where, look, he hasn't got enough time, so I don't want to be too hard on him, but he's going to have to get used to this where he comes off the bench, so he's going to really have to try his best to somehow impact the game. So look, guys, overall, that's a bit about the game. Quickly, I just want to shout out that this is the reason why we need Kai Havertz, with the lack of creativity in the middle. This is the reason why we're going for someone like Kai Havertz, who's got the ability to pass, got the ability to finish. His creativity will help us massively through the middle. And Said Benrahma, this is the other reason why we're so interested in him, because he takes on players, 1v1 dribbling. This guy takes people on. Willian, as good as he is, there's too much sideways dribbling from Willian and not direct enough. Pulisic, as you see, is direct. That's why he's so much more impactful. So this is the reason why we're going for these, and I hope we get them. Guys, let me know what your thoughts were in this particular match. Tell me about how you felt about the match overall, our strategy, Frank's management, starting lineup, the whole jazz, what you thought about some of the players, and overall, what you think that we need in the future to fix the kind of style that we're playing at the moment. So yeah, guys, look, if you've enjoyed this video, smash the like button. If you're here for the first time, subscribe and hit the bell notification to be in touch with all my content. And until next time, see ya.